Breaking down Arizona Wildcats football, the Wildcats fall up on the Palouse to Washington State 44-18. I'm David Kelly, joined as always by Glenn Howell, U of A football class of 1985. And Glenn, I have one simple question for you. Did you see the second half of that game on Friday night? Because I didn't see it. In fact, I didn't actually see. I couldn't see it, I think is what I want to say. I couldn't see that game because it was too foggy.
It was foggy, man. I thought it was in Fresno, okay, in Northern California. But it's kind of crazy. But you know what? Our team, I don't know what's going on, man. It's just like they go from Utah playing really good. You know, I thought we're in the game, and then we go to Washington State and we just drop. I mean, it just wasn't a good performance. I don't know if it was the weather or if it was the Friday night, but we got something to really get everything fixed and get ready for the Scummies up north next week.
Yeah, it is the Territorial Cup game coming up on Saturday. I think it's always the weather when you go to Pullman at that time of the year. I mean, these are a lot of kids that are from California, Arizona, Texas, and other places that have never played in that kind of thing. And I think that messes with your mind. We saw, Stanley Berryhill, I think, had a couple of drops in that ball game. I mean, just when you start to see strange things that you don't normally see, I mean, we've seen the blocked punts and stuff, but 2 blocked punts in one game. When you start to see a lot of that strange stuff, I think that has a lot to do with just guys not being dialed in because they're in an uncomfortable situation.
Yeah, but you know what? You got to get over that, man. You're playing football. You know, we did that in 1983 when we went up there. It was really cold, and we came out with a victory, man. I mean, you just got to be able to adjust. You got to be mentally ready for it. And part of this, people don't understand that a lot of this game is really a lot about mental. How mentally tough are you of knowing your assignment, your alignment, and just executing. We didn't execute very well on Friday night.
Well, we're going to get into some good execution, some bad execution. I want to start with good execution, Glenn, and that was this 71-yard run by Drake Anderson. This might have been the best blocked play that I have seen all season long by the Arizona Wildcats. I mean, everybody was involved. You got Peyton Fears here. He kicks out your end. Josh Baker kicks out the nose tackle. Josh McCauley and Anthony Simpson up on a second-level block. JT Hand blocking down the defensive tackle. And then you got Jordan Morgan making a deflection on the opposite side to kind of clear the linebacker. Glenn, it does not get any better than that. If they could duplicate that blocking scheme like for 45, 50 more rushes, they could run for 400 yards every weekend.
Yeah, I would ask, if I was the coach, I'd run that play about 7 or 8 times and say, guys, this is what we have to do to execute. Execution is key on all your run plays because we have to be a running offense because we just don't have that passing attack that we don't have it yet. And we just got to be able to rely on the run, so the run has to be executed to perfection.
All right, Glenn, let's get into some not so good execution. And I think I'm going to call this segment, Help Me Understand. Help me understand what I'm seeing here, Glenn Howell. This is 1st and 10, first quarter. In fact, this is the first possession of the game. And I want you to watch center Josh McCauley here because he is basically going to let this nose tackle just go right by him and get a tackle. Well, actually, Jalen John turned that into a couple of a yard gain there. But still, help me understand what I'm seeing there and why McCauley would just let this nose tackle go by him like that without even trying to block him.
Well, right now you look at the lineup. Let's start from the lineup. He looks like a shade right, a one technique, okay? So what they would do is they would double team with the right guard, double team, get up and get onto the linebacker because you have the fullback behind them that's going to take the play side linebacker, okay? So if they're going to go 1-2, but you have to secure the line of scrimmage first. That's what the big mistake which happened there is that they didn't secure the line of scrimmage. So if you run the tape and they come off, you get a shoulder on the guy and the other guy gets butt to butt and we get up and we go back on the backside and get that linebacker. But they didn't secure the guy on the line of scrimmage and he makes the play. All
right, Glenn, let's go ahead to the second quarter here. Pass play, 3rd and 5 And again, third downs were horrible in this ball game for the Wildcats. And this was one particularly where I thought that Will maybe locked in on Michael Wiley. You see him kind of in the slot here, and you've got Brian Castile, BJ Castile down at the bottom. And Brian Castile right now, you can look again, and we talked about last week pre-snap reads. You can pretty much tell there's no safety help here for Brian Castile at the bottom of the screen. But what happens on this snap here, Glenn? Will Plummer is going to immediately lock on Michael Wiley the entire time, and you don't get this first down accomplished here on this third down play. When we talked last week, and this is when we played the sound cut from head coach Jed Fish talking about pre-snap reads, this is something he has to be able to see. He has to be able to understand that there's no safety help here on that outside guy. And if you watch off the snap again at the bottom now, Castile's got that guy beat at the first down marker. That could have been a touchdown if Will's eyes were in the right place.
Yeah, you have to be able to, first and foremost, you got to understand what is the yard and distance for the first down. Where are you going to get? Is my first read going to be availability to get the first down? That's what we have to do on third down. That's the kind of mindset we have to have on third down. We got to first get to the sticks, make sure that we have a route that's getting to the sticks. And then if we do go before the sticks, we better have a good percentage that that guy can beat that guy, like a back on a linebacker. But this is a DB on a back. And those percentages are not that great. So then we got to look for the guy that's going to be across the line of scrimmage for the first down. That's what we have to be looking for, and we just haven't done that.
And Glenn, flipping over to the defensive side, one of the things we also talked about in Arizona football today was how they were going to use Christian Young in this particular ball game. And I thought it was interesting that we saw Christian Young playing more deep safety, more free safety in this game versus the Viper. They kind of flipped him and Jaden Young in those positions. And the other thing we were always, in terms of Washington State and how much they throw the ball and they try to spread you out with the wide receivers, whenever we face a team that lines up like that with a bunch of receivers on the field, it means that Jackson Turner, who's your best run defender, has to play in coverage. And anytime that Jackson Turner is not able to play the run, that is not going to be a good time for this Arizona Wildcats defense.
Yeah, and it showed. They were running on the outside. They were always trying to get to the outside. We knew that that's what they were going to try to do, and they were doing it all night. And that's just something that we can't allow to happen. We got to tackle better. We got to do those kinds of things. Those are real important. And then we got to have controlled lane rushes where we're not letting the guy get outside and then making plays. That's what we're going to have to do. Or are we going to have some problems next week because that quarterback next week up there, he tries to get out and make plays. So we're going to have to be real disciplined, and we're going to be a lot of emotion for next week.
And you got to wonder what the situation is going to be at linebacker. Jerry Roberts goes out on the first play of the game. I mean, I tweeted that took the air out of the room how well he had played against Utah, and you lose him on the first play. And nothing against Dante Smith, but he just wasn't ready. You have to put, again, and this goes to the depth of this roster right now, when you have to have a kid like that go out there and play, and he just got exposed by those sprint draws that Washington was running in that ball game.
Yeah, this team has not had very good luck on the injuries, man. I mean, Roberts has been playing lights out, man. The guy's been playing his butt off, and I just feel sorry for the kid. The kid has been playing really well, and it's just that's just the nature of football. Football, you get hurt, man. We just have got the hurt bug.
And Glenn, as far as special teams, this might have been the worst. I think I'd give them an F for this ball game. And it started with Lucas Haversack kicking the ball out of bounds to start the ball game. You had a partially blocked punt. You had a blocked punt that went for a safety. You had holding on a return that negated a nice return. And then Kyle Ostendorf had a 36-yard punt. Again, when you start to see weird things like Kyle Ostendorf kicking a 36-yarder, to me, that's weather-related. That's because of the elements. But like you said earlier, they've got to play through those things. But this was just not a good special teams game. I thought the worst that we've seen this season for Arizona.
When Lucas Haversack kicked that ball out of bounds, I was like, oh, my gosh. That guy that guy can kick it to Seattle.
Exactly.
You know, I'm like, what are you doing, man? I mean, how can you not kick that out of the end zone? And then that's when I knew that it wasn't going to be a good night for us.
All right, well, Glenn, time to turn the page off this one and get ready for the one that matters the most, because you win this game on Saturday in Tempe, and it's going to be a nice offseason even with just 2 wins.
Oh yeah, this next game is going to be. I just was talking to some guys about it, man. It's just an emotional week. It's something that you'll live with you forever if you're a winner, okay? And if you're a loser, you try to forget it, but you still remember it. I'm telling you. But we have to be able to. The guys that were on that roster last year that are playing this year, they better have a chip on their shoulder and have some real issues with ASU.
It's a chance for you, if you are an Arizona Wildcat, to sign your name into lore. Who's going to be Chuck Cecil? Who's going to be James DeBow? Who's going to be Trung Candidate? Who's going to be Scooby Wright? You have a chance to make people remember you forever if you can make a big play in a winning football game against Arizona State.
Yes, it is. That's what it's all about. And all that week I was thinking about, I got to make a play. I'm going to make a play. And I'm not going to make any mistakes. That's the thing, that we weren't going to make any mistakes. And we did pretty good those 3 years that I played, man. We were, we played just lights out against them. We just never thought that we were going to lose. And we all had, and Coach Smith really emphasized how important this game was.
All right, it's the Wildcats and the Arizona State Sun Devils, the Territorial Cup game in Tempe. We'll be back and we'll preview that game for you on Saturday morning.